Hello and welcome to my channel Making Crafts. Today I'm continuing to work on my mini album journal. So let's get started. Okay, so now let's just start on the fourth set of pages. And for this set, I'm going to look here and see what I'm going to go through my scraps first of what I have. I have one piece that I cut and scored wrong for the page that I was working on, but it could work for this page. So that's what I'm going to look and see because I don't want to waste. I'm trying to use up, use everything that I have, and I'm trying to use my scraps because I am very limited on this paper right here. I'm going to have to order some more of this color. So for now, I want to make sure that I use every bit of it up. So now, I've been wanting to add, where's that at? I'm thinking of adding this to the page as well. Let's see how that would fit there. I really like this little envelope that came with the kit, and so I want to figure out a way to add it. And I was thinking, if I did it like that, you could still pull this out, but what I'm thinking of doing is adding a tab to it so that it just folds over like that. So I'm going to try it. So let me get a strip, just a little scrap strip that I have over here. So just get a little scrap that's out of my box. I do want it the same length because I'm thinking if it's not, it may move too much. This will be perfect. I'll cut up this one. I don't want to waste. Okay, so this one will be perfect. So I'm just going to have to cut just a little off of it. So let's cut as a strip for a little tab right here. So I'm just going to make it 1 inch wide. And this needs to be, okay, just need to cut just a little off of it. Let me see how that lines up with it. I don't want to stick it over the edge. If anything, it needs to be under the size of it. And I can just center it on it. So I think that's going to be perfect. So I'll let you know what I cut it at. I cut it at 1 inch by 5 3/4. So now we're just going to score it down the middle. And it is, you could just fold it over if you didn't want to get your scoring tool out. But I think it makes it easier to just score down the middle. And I have lost my scoring tool, so my bone folder. So I just want to put it right here on the edge. And then I'm just going to score at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to score right down the middle of it. And then we're just going to cut our flaps on it. Just cut them at an angle. And then we'll attach it to our envelope. Attaching one side of the flap to our envelope, and then you want to have the other side right here so that it can attach to, our page. I'm going to apply glue to my little tab. And now I want to center it on my page. But I'm going to take this time, instead of attaching it to the front of the page, I'm going to attach it to the other side because we're still going to cover it with the paper when we decorate that side. And so I'm just going to try to center it as best I can by eyeballing it. Make sure when I fold it over it looks good, and then I'm just going to attach it right here. Okay, so I went ahead and cut the sheet that I'm going to use on the front of this one. So, and I went ahead and inked it so I could show you, because I know that I've went through the process several times, so I know that it's probably getting boring to see the same thing over and over. So just cutting it like normal to fit on the page, and then just inking it like I did. So I'm just going to cover this page. So now let's decorate the back of this page. So for the back of this page, I'm just going to put a sheet on, and I've already cut it and I have inked it up. And I'm not going to do anything to this page yet. When I go back and decorate, I will do more to the page. But for now, I'm just going to add this paper. And I've also decided that at the same time, on the page that's going to be facing it, So when it's in the book, it'll flip like this, and then this will be the next page. I'm going to have them, what I did was I cut the paper in half and then just cut to the size that it needed to be, and then I'm just going to have them where it looks like they're just separated like that, but still the same sheet. So I'm not going to do anything to either one of these pages, no flaps, no anything. When I go to decorate, I am going to add some tuck spots and pockets and some decoration, but for now I'm going to leave it like this because the flaps would cover it up. So I'm just going to glue these pages on, and I've already inked both of them, so they're ready to go. So now let's go ahead and decorate the back of this page. And so for the back of the page, once again, I'm just going to be adding the just a paper to cover it up, and I'm not going to put any flaps on this page because I have some more ideas of what I want to do to this one, and so I will do all that when I go to decorate it up. Okay, so now we have that one done, and we have this one, and so I like how that looks. So now then we have the back side done. So now let's move on to the next page, and the next page is going to have a flap. So I'm using the second part of this page. I had used the other half at the beginning of the book, so now I'm using this part, and then we're going to also be adding a flap on the side here. So I want to round the corners of my flap. And then I want to just add the flap to, and this time I am just going to put the flap right on the other side of the page and do it that way. So let me just go ahead and glue the flap on. I forgot to add, this flap was just a leftover piece that I had from my paper, and it measured 5 by 6, and I had scored it at a 1/2 inch, so I scored it at 4 1/2. So then that's what that piece was. It was just a leftover piece that I had in my scrap pile. So now I went ahead and I've already inked the edges, and I've already inked the paper and cut the paper that I'm going to put on here. And then for this piece, I am going to be using this sheet, so I'll have to cut this one down. So let me go ahead and cut that one down. Okay, so I have both of those glued on, and so now I'm going to add a journaling spot to this page. And here is a sheet I haven't used yet, and I think I'm going to add it there. And it's in the kit, and it has lines for you to be able to write on. So I think that would be good to put there. And so I just need to cut it. And where do I want the border? I think I want on this side, so I'm going to cut it at 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. Okay. And then I'm just going to attach it like this with the border going around here. And I am going to round the corners. And just attach it after I ink it. And so that looks really good together. It's time to do the last page. And for the last page, I am going to be using this sheet of paper. And my thinking behind it was the first page actually started with the other half. So I thought it'd be neat to end up with the other piece of it. And so I'm going to attach that. I've already cut it and inked it. And then what I'm going to also do is I've took a piece of paper, just like we did at the beginning for our flap when we made pockets. I took a piece of paper, and this piece is, let's see here, it's about 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. And so once again, like I showed you at the beginning, when I cut this pocket, when we cut this pocket, all I did was just lay it in my paper trimmer, cut diagonally, and then you have 2 pieces. And so now I am going to be using those on the last page. But I have to make a decision. I was kind of thinking I want them over to the side like this, where we can be a tuck spot. So I'm just going to punch the edges of this. That's going to probably be That little corner there may be a little issue, we'll see. Oh, that looks great. That looks really good. So that wasn't a problem at all. And let's see. And I gotta do just the bottom edge there. I hope I don't mess it up. There we go, that looks great. That's exactly what I was looking for. So we're just gonna do this one as well. Uh-oh, now we may have an issue there. Well, that worked out just fine. I can trim that little edge that's a little jagged there. There we go. And this little thing makes such a mess. So what I'm going to do, this little extra right here, I'm just going to trim that off. And then this one has just a little spot like it too. I'm going to trim it off because I'm afraid that it will tear later on. And so now I can just attach it like this to this page. Let me see here. I want to line these up with each other. So I may need to trim just a little slither off of this one. Just a little bitty bit. And it'll fix that little edge too that I was having to trim. So let's take a look here. Because I want them to line up at the bottom here. And I think when I punched it, it made it mess up just a little so that it didn't line up. And I'm thinking I want it on this side of the page rather than on this side. So I'm just going to attach it to this page like this. So let me go ahead and attach, well, I want to ink this part real quick, and then I'm going to attach it to the page. Okay, so what we're going to do is add glue to just the three sides there. And I will try to get the glue right all the way up to the edge on that little piece of lace, the lacy part where I punched, because I don't want it coming loose. It's going to be more fragile. And so that way if I glue it down right there on the edge, maybe it won't tear. So let's just add it right there. And I'm just going to line it up with the bottom edge, and then I'm lining it up with the left side edge. And we're just going to press down. A little bit of glue came out there, so just wipe that off. Okay, and now I'm just going to do the same thing to this one. I'm going to put glue on three sides. And then once again, we're just going to line it up with the edge at the bottom and on the sides. And there we have our little pocket. And so then we can just put little tags in there. So I think that's cute. I like that. I want to make sure I got my page the right side up, and I do. So then, just going to glue it on. So now we're going to just add it to our cover, to our page, just center it up, and then just going to press down. I'm just going to press right here really good. Now it is going to be time to start adding them to the book and then decorating them. Okay, to get started, you want to make sure that you have your pages in the order that you want them in your book, so that'll make it easier putting them in. And I've already put my pages in the order that I'm putting them in my book. And so now let's take the first page, and what you want to do before we start with the pages, I forgot to add, is get your bone folder, and you just want to take and press down your flaps and just work them a little bit, because they're probably still stiff if you did not work them when you first put the book together. And I didn't talk about working them really that much in that video, so I just want to show you that you want to work them so that they will move some, because once you add the pages, that's what's going to help your pages turn. So I like to just go through and just press each one. I press them down one way, and then I'm going to press them down the other way. And that way we got them where they're flexible. So I've been working mine some before I turned on the camera, so mine are ready. So now to add the pages, you're going to take and glue. We're going to add glue to both sides of this one little peak here. And then once we add the glue, we're going to take the open part on our page, where it's going to be a pocket, and then this open part, we're just going to slide it down over the peak there, the little strip, and that is where, and you just want to line it up even, top and bottom, and then we'll just have it attached like that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my first one. So you want to use some strong glue for this so it doesn't come loose. And so you're just going to apply glue to the first side of your flap. And then you're just going to take your page and slide it over. And then, let me get it over there, line it up with I know you have this is going to be hard for you to see, but I'm lining it up so that there is an equal amount on each end of the page, and then I'm just going to press it on with it up, and then we'll make sure that I don't get on. You want to be right up against the score line of your flap, but not right up on it, because you still want the pages to move and to bend, so you don't want to cover up your score line that's where the page bends, or where the flap bends, so that way your page can bend back and forth. And so you just want to lay it down like that and press it, and just press real hard and give your glue time to dry. And then you're going to take and go over to the other side, and this one's going to be a little bit tougher to get into, but if you do it this way, it's a lot easier adding it. So then you just want to open it up a little bit and just add glue to the strip there, and just be sure to stay on your binding piece. The little accordion part that we have, the little peak that's sticking up, be sure to just put glue on that and then add it, because you want to keep your pocket. You don't want to glue this page shut. And so I like to hold it up first to make sure it looks like everything's lining up, and then you just want to press it. Just press it down real good, and then you can lay it over. Use your bone folder and just press down. And then I'm just going to get a napkin here, paper towel, and I'm just going to wipe the excess glue that's oozing out, because that's okay. You want to have plenty of glue so that it does hold good. So let's just keep pressing. I'm just going to press, and you want to just keep pressing until that glue dries. It'll take just a second for it to dry, and so that way it holds really good and tight. And then you've got your first page in. And like I said, just be sure that you don't put it, you want to put it up against the score line where your flap moves back and forth. So right here at the bottom of the flap where it moves back and forth, you want it up right next to that score line, but not on it, because you don't want it where your page won't move. And so there we have our pages. So I'm just going to score one more time. I'm just going to press one more time to make sure it's all super tight. And now we have our first page in our book. So now we're going to add the next page, and we're going to do the same exact thing. And I'll do a couple pages with you, and then I'll just do the rest off camera so that we can get it done, and you won't have to watch me do the same thing over and over. So like I said, you're going to add glue to your flap and just cover it good with glue. And then you're going to take your page, and be sure you have your page, the right page that you're going to put in next. And then you're just going to slide it over. And then what you want to do for this one is you're trying to center it, but you also are going to want to make sure that it lines up with the page before. So what I like to do is pull the page up from before and make sure that they are lining up from end to end. And that way your book doesn't get crooked on you. And so that is pretty good. Just making sure that the pages do line up. And then you can eyeball to make sure it's centered, because if it's centered, it should be lining up with your other page. And so you just want to make sure your pages are lining up. And when you hold it up like this, you can look to make sure that your pages are lining up straight, and make sure that you've got it on your binding straight. And then just press it on there. And then just once again, we're going to lay the page down, making sure that it doesn't move. And you just want to look, I just sort of eyeball it, but you could just hold something flat up against to make sure that they are lining up, and then just press down your page onto the binding strip. So I'm just going to take a look there, make sure everything looks, before it's totally dry, that everything is lining up like I like it. And so then I want to lay it back down one more time. I like to just make sure that I am getting a good tight fit with that glue. Just want to make sure that it's good and tight. So now we're just, like I said before on the first one, you just go back and you reach up under here and make sure you're getting glue all the way to the bottom of the strip here. You're just going to pull it open just a little bit. Don't tear your paper, which it shouldn't. We're using cardstock, so it shouldn't tear, but you don't want to be rough on it. And so then you're just going to cover that flap with glue. And it's just the back side of the flap, and hopefully you can see what I'm covering with the glue. It's the back side of the flap, and then I'm just going to lay it down onto the, so I just press it. I like to pull it up like I said, press it, and then just lay it down and run my bone folder along the edge. And before I do that, I'm going to wipe some of that extra glue because it's getting on my bone folder. And so let me take this, and I may have to go wash this real quick. So just press it down really tight. And this is when you want to add some pressure to be sure that you're getting it pressed down, because you know we've added some bulk here with our decorative papers and our flaps and different things. So you're just going to have to press hard to be sure that you're getting it pressed down. And that bone folder is getting sticky. So I'm just going to use this one. I'm pressing right here in the corner, because down here where your book, where the book pages are not attached to the flap, you want to be sure that you're pressing in those corners so that your glue gets tight and it closes the pages up. And then we're just going to take and wipe off the excess glue. I've got just a little bit right there. I'm going to wipe off. And then at the end, once it's good and dry, I can take my glue eraser and just get any of the extra glue out. So I'm not going to worry about that right now, because we're going to move on to the next page. So we just want to make sure that that one's pressed down good. So that one is on. And so then you're just going to add all the rest of your pages just the same, just gluing them on just like we did the first one, and just being sure that they line up. And when it's laying flat like this, you can also see that they are lining up. So now I'm going to add the rest of my pages, and then I'll be back with you and we'll start decorating the pages. If you are following along and crafting with me, you should now have all the pages in your album. And so I've added all the pages to mine. And so now what we're going to do is add papers to the front and back cover just to cover those up. And so I'm just going to use the same brown that I was using to decorate the inside with. And we're going to cut these pieces at 5 1/4 by 7 3/4. And then we're just going to glue them on the inside cover. And this is just to cover up the whole binding part. And then I probably am going to cover mine with something decorative, but I'm not sure yet. So that's why I'm just putting the plain in first. And then, because I'm thinking of adding pockets. So when I get to embellishing, which is next, I will make my decision on that. So you just want to center your paper up inside the back cover. So I'm just going to add some glue and do that. So I'm just centering it up on the back here. And let me wipe that off. I had a little bit of glue on my fingers and got on there. So now, just wipe some of that off. I'm just pressing it down to be sure it grabs a hold really good. And mine it's lifting up right there. I'm going to add just a little bit more glue right here at the bottom. Maybe my glue started to dry by the time I got it laid down. It's a little warm in my house today. Just going to do the same thing to the front. Okay, so now we have the front and side, both of those covered. Thinking of adding a pocket to the back like that, and then the front I'm not sure what, but I may actually cut some decorative paper to put there as well. And here are the tags that I made that goes in the pockets, and I'm missing one. I've got to make one more. I thought I had 6 and I didn't. So what I did was I went through and just printed some of the journal paper from the journal kit. I printed the paper onto cardstock, and I printed front and back, and then I cut it in half, and I cut it down to, actually I cut it in half, but then I had to cut it down to fit the pockets. So you want to cut it to 5 by 7.5, and then I went ahead and rounded my corners and I inked them. And so now these journaling cards should just fit right down into the pockets. And they do. So I'm planning on adding, I've not decided yet, but ribbon or something to them, so so that they kind of stick out to it, that you'll see them in there. And so here's another one. I printed, this is from the Watercolor Roses backgrounds. This goes along, this doesn't come with the journal kit, but it matches the journal kit, so I used that as well for the back of this one. And then this piece is from the journaling kit. So I'm just going to add that one in here. So this one has lots of places to journal, and then these you can journal and then put them back in here. And you could have this if it wanted to be something hidden that you didn't, just kind of a little hidden journaling spot. I'm just going to put all these down in there. Then I'll have to cut one more out to do this. So and so this one I didn't show you. This was another sheet from the journaling kit, and I really like this one. I think this would be a great little place to write a poem or something, so I thought that would work really good. And so now I just need one more, and I'm really not liking this plain, so I'm thinking that I need to print out some more sheets and cover it with some decorative pieces. So I'm thinking maybe this, maybe I should cover it with this. I think I like that better. And I'm thinking, what if I cut it and what if I rounded the edges and put that in there? Or should they stay square? So let's just let it lay there for a second and see. Let me put it on the back here. So what if I put this here, and then I put this pocket? I like that. I think that's a perfect size too. So let's see what size that is so I know how to cut my other one. It is 5 3/4. No, it's a little bit more than that. No, it is 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. So I'm just going to ink it up and add that to my back, and then I'm going to print one more of these. So I got the 2 of them cut, so now I'm just going to ink these up, and then I'm going to add them to my covers. I could have just added these instead of the plain brown papers if I'd have realized that I wanted some color there, but I thought that I wanted it all to match. Then I realized that I really didn't like it with it plain, so I want to have it decorated up. So that's what I'm going to do. Just add it to the... Okay, so we're just going to add that right here. And then I'm just going to add the little library pocket. And so what I've done is I've already put it together, and this came in the ephemera part, the sheets, and so I just cut it apart and put it together, and then I punched the edge with my little scallop punch here, my little edge punch. So it was just a straight edge. I went ahead and punched it, and then I'm going to add it right here to the book. So I've got to decide here, do I want it more in the center or more towards the bottom? Let's see. I'm going to put, and this little tag comes on that kit with the kit as well. So you have all this already with the kit so that you can embellish your journal. And so this kit has tons of embellishments with it. glue is slow moving today, and I don't know why, because I think it's hot in here. Maybe it's just me that's hot. It's cold outside, but I'm pretty warm here inside. I was cold earlier, but I have really warmed up since I started crafting. Maybe it's under these lights. So now you just press all this down really good before the glue dries. And I like that right in the center is what I've done. And then I'm just going to add the library tag, the library card. And I think that looks good. And I could add some more tags in it, and I might. And so now what I'm going to do is I want to cover the front as well, but I forgot to ink it up, so let's go ahead and ink it. So now that I have this added, I'm going to think about it and decide what I'm going to put on the inside of this. And normally in my mini albums I put some sort of pocket in the front, so that's probably what it's going to be. And so now I'm just going to look at my pages and decide which one I want to start playing around with and decorating. And I think I'm going to start with this one, and I'm just going to make a little tuck spot on it. So I'm going to cut this one down so that it goes right here as a tuck spot, and then I'm going to decorate it up with some flowers. So let me trim this down really quick. So I just cut the strip at 7 3/4 long, and I just went with whatever width it was, and it's about a little over 1 1/2. And so I'm just going to leave it just the scrap like it was. I just had to cut it down so that it fit my page at the top and bottom. And so now I'm just going to add it once I ink it up. Just going to add it here, and then we're going to put some flowers on it. And so for the tuck spot for this band, I'm just going to put glue on 2 sides, the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to be sure that it lines up with the decorative paper on the top and on the bottom. And I want to make sure I got it slid over far enough that we can use it to hold tags and things. So I'm just going to press it down there, and so then you can just slide. Let me show you. You'll be able to slide items, and they'll be able to stay in there. So that is going to be the first one. Okay, so I've got the flower and the band added to this page, and so now I want to move on to my next page that I was going to work on. And I'm thinking here I wanted maybe to put a doily, glue it down, and then on top of it I was going to put and I know I have a big mess here, but this is how I work. And then I'm going to have, I think I'm going to put, let's see here, maybe this band across. And then you have it there. And so what would happen is this will be glued down, and then this would be our tuck spot up here. So I'm going to add that. So I need to be sure that this is glued down flat when I do that. So I'm just going to eyeball it real quick and see that I need to cut. Let me just take a little pencil. That's what I should do. I'm going to take a pencil and just draw where I need to cut it off. And so I just need to cut here, right along there. And let's just cut it with a pair of scissors and see how that works and see if that's enough. Okay, let's just see how that looks. And let me see how that's going to look when I close it. I think that's going to look good. So now I'm just going to apply some glue to it so that I can glue it down. And don't forget also, if you do like my videos, to be sure to hit the like button and comment below. I love to hear from you, and be sure to subscribe as well. So that and then you hit once you subscribe, you can hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And so you won't miss any of the videos. And if you do make this album, I think I said it in the other video, but if you make this album, be sure to let me know. And you can show me yours on Instagram or on Facebook, or comment below and let me know where to check yours out, because I would love to see what you make as well. Because that's what I love about this, is about the YouTube, is developing a craft community where we can communicate with each other and where we can see what each other is making and just bounce ideas off each other. I love sharing my ideas, and I love to hear your ideas as well. Let's see how this looks. So I'm just going to cut. I kind of wish that I could turn it upside down. I wonder if it'd be okay if the writing was upside down, because I would love to have the rose on that side. What if, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut that rose off, just right there, and then I'm going to glue this on here, and I'm just going to attach the rose back to it so that it's not upside down. Is that a crazy idea? Hopefully not. And I can have the rose like that. Okay, so let's just do that. So this is going to be a belly band, so I really need to just attach the rose first, like this, so that our band is the right length. So let me do that. Let me pull it back down so I can see. I'm just going to attach it like this. And now I'm wondering, maybe I do a different strip and I use this rose. Hold on just a second. I'm always changing my mind when I'm doing these things. What if I had a strip like this and then you stuck the little rose on it? Oh, I didn't even see this one. That may be really nice to put on. So let's just try it like this again. Oh, I do like that. So I'm just going to attach this first. I'll attach this one. I'm just going to put glue on one end because we're still trying to keep this as a tuck spot. So I'm just going to add a little glue here. And attach that side. And where is my napkin? Because there's some glue oozing out. Okay. And then I'm going to put this rose so that it is attached to this and here. So I'm going to attach both sides of my rose. I think I want to ink this little circle up just a little. Not a lot, just a little. And then I'm just going to add a little glue on each side. And that way it can work as a tuck spot. And still, it's not glued to the page. It's still a little tuck spot there. Let that glue dry for just a second and then I can show you. See, it's just going to be a tuck spot. I do want to press that down. There we go. That is another little embellishment added, and I do like that one. And I did the other half of the doily I was wanting to put on this piece here. So I think I'm just going to add it there. I do want to leave this album to be decorated some by whoever uses it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using it or if I'm giving it away or if I'm selling it or what I'm doing with it. So I want to be sure that whoever gets it also has room to embellish it and add to it as they want to as well. So I have to leave it blank some, but I like adding some decorations myself. This is my favorite part. And overlook all the noise. Supper's being made, so can't complain about that noise, can I? So we just have to bear with it. Okay, so I'm just going to press that down, good, because I want it to be flat. And there we have another little area decorated. I do want to add these flowers, some flowers here. So I'm thinking of doing like this, trying to make it look like the flowers keep going. Kind of like that. And I like that. So I'm just going to ink the edges on that. Get some of this glue off my fingers first. I'm going to ink these edges up. I'm just going to attach it like that, and here, like this. So that looks good. This is just going to slide right in there, like that. And then this little flower. It's going right there. And I got to make sure that my page can still open and close, so I don't want it to hang off too much. And I like that. So that's another page decorated. Just add some little pieces in here. These are pieces that came in the kit. And so I'm just going to add them in here. Some of these will go in little pockets, but for now. So let's put this little pocket together. This is another pocket that came in the kit, so I'm just going to, I call it pocket or envelope, whichever you call it. I'm just going to glue it shut. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to glue this pocket shut, and then, well, I'm gluing it together, and then we have the little flap. And then I thought this is a little pocket that came in the kit as well. So what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to glue it onto this one. But I want to ink it up first. I'm just going to add it there. But what I want to do is I want to add it so that when the tag is in it, it doesn't go above the envelope, but it helps hold the actual envelope shut. And so then it's kind of like so then you would raise it up like that. So then, hopefully this makes sense. So the tag holds the envelope shut, and then when you pull the tag out, you can open the envelope. So let me put this one together and we'll do that. So let's see here. Put my little tag real quickly so I can see how far it needs to go, because I don't want the tag sticking up above the envelope, but I want it to be high enough that it closes, and then I want it to look appealing too. So I'm trying to put it the same distance from the bottom as the top, and I think that's what will give it that look. So that's good. So now I'm going to put this little card, journaling card. Make sure I didn't got it glued shut. So I'm going to put this journaling card in, and then I'm going to put this little, so I'm going to close it up, put this little tag, and so that will close our little envelope up. And now I'm trying to decide, do I want to glue it somewhere on one of these pages? Or is it going in a tuck spot? Maybe it's just going right here in the tuck spot, like that. We'll see. I may actually put it somewhere else, and then we already have this little tuck spot, so that's good. And make sure that was glued down before I put that in there. Let me see here. So we need something to tuck here. And I'm going to go back through. I'm just trying it all out, see where everything's going. I'm going to go back through and hole punch all of these and add lace to my tags. So there we go. There's just a little tag in there, and here's another one we could add there. I'm going to stop here, and I am going to work on embellishing this some more, and then I will come back to you and show you the actual completed album, and we'll do a little flip through.